Hello, my name is Viatney Roberts. So this video would be about my reflection towards the project with the concept of Alia. Alia is a charity that it helps entrepreneurs, young people, and basically everyone from any type of demographic in order to achieve their dream. To anyone that has an idea, a business plan, to make it actually come to life. So at first, reflecting on this, throughout weeks 13 to but 13 to 24. So yeah, so a wide variation of weeks. So at first, what we had to do was we were divided into smaller initial groups, so groups of like 4, I think. And what we did was each group came up with different concepts as to how we could tackle the bigger picture of Alia's issue, which was reaching a wider demographic and a target audience. So my group initially, first, we came up with the idea that Alia should reach out to people through main events, and this was to target everyone and not just older people. We thought main events such as university open days, exhibitions such as using the Excel London Centre, or joining exhibitions that happen within there, open days, freshers weeks, stuff like events like this that could attract people. That was to reach a younger demographic. However, reaching an older demographic, we thought stuff such as like, the older demographic are entitled more to word of mouth, or being approached in general. So this could literally be like handing out flyers on the roads, like physical things and practices such as like that. We also thought about the biggest one would be, and a biggest way to target this audience was to promote our concept through social media. This is because young and old people use social media in a very different broad way. So older people do tend to be more on media such as platforms such as Facebook, whereas younger people tend to be on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat and such. So that was our initial idea, and that did get carried on to the main bigger focus, so the main bigger group, the initial concept of targeting through social media, and which promoted the concept of dreaming with Alia. I feel like with the concept on a whole general basis, we did think about how we could approach an audience. We thought about things such as the logo, what logo was more appropriate, so whether a logo we had 3 different types of main logos that we liked. One was more natural, included a light bulb with hands, which is what we ended up picking, or choosing, sorry, because it was it's kind of like natural feel. It had a sense of natural intelligence, natural innovation that could be coming from someone and inspired and helping give to the world, to add into benefit in the future. Our other concepts that were also considered were, in terms of logos, were a more colourful, like a light bulb with many light bulbs actually, really graphic-y, really digital, and we thought it did seem it was a very good concept, but we thought in order to turn and reach such a big demographic that we had, a target audience, so young and old, we thought it was just a bit too digital and new. So we thought, why not stick to a kind of more simpler rooted idea? Throughout the campaign, we went through many stages. Personally, I thought, learning wise, I learned a lot about, in terms of how we thought was what really triggers communicating with audiences, such as things such as the logo, small things like that. It could really impact on the demographic that you end up attracting, such as being just simply having too many bright colors, or like keeping it simple, it could really trigger as to like who you attract to the enterprise and the business. I really also learned a lot about presenting to an audience, learning how to keep an audience engaged. This was in terms of the presenting the concept to our group and to Alia. Yeah, in terms of keeping them engaged, I remember our group, we ended up doing a quiz, so like keeping people involved and like really turn on as to what we were talking about and engaging them with our own thoughts, because I feel like that's important as well. If you don't engage an audience with your thoughts, then you don't really know where they're going. Yeah, so I think in total, our group was very communicative. We used strategies, or platform, social media platforms such as Trello, which is like it's an online like pinboard, so where you can kind of pin your ideas, which is where we started pinning the scripts, which I was more like involved in. The area that I was more involved in, I was involved more in terms of copywriting, copyright production. So in terms of like getting the press release together, organized, and how we can approach our audience in general, what would be the most effective way in the script to write and, you know, participate in the video advert that we initially made. So yeah, we ended up picking a video, you know, a type of advert to say, which kind of included the concept of an ex-con kind of trying to get his life together, and he using that innovation, using Alia, teaming up with Alia to make something of his life, something that he thought was impossible. And that was, so we use techniques such as self-identification in terms of media aspects. We use self-identification through our video in order to try to connect to our audience, because we thought that was the best way of dreaming with Alia. So in the prospects of dreaming, it is a very personal verb and action. So we thought the only way we could get that personal to people is literally through self-identity, which is why I really believe our concept of the video was more appropriate. So our script, in terms of an ex-con using Alia to get his life together, was very appropriate in terms of what we were trying to show, because Alia has that concept in them. They have the power to do that. And I feel like our audience, in order to reach a wide demographic, a lot of people want that. A lot of people want to get their life together and such. So I believe that was the best idea that we could have. It was a very appropriate idea, and I really loved what we did and enjoyed the time that we took to use it. Obviously, we had a lot of research to do, such as how many, what were peak times in terms of social media to post videos, links, and blogs, to post tweets from our accounts in terms of Dreaming with Ali account through the campaign. There was a lot of research involved conducting this, because obviously we had to know when was the appropriate times when we could reach the peak audience, and where we could really get people's attention. So yeah, I feel like the communication in the team and sort of that as well was really, really good. Thanks to Trello and thanks to other like group chats that we use in terms of WhatsApp and stuff like that. So yeah, I think what we could have done better was, although our communication was good, I feel like we could have been actively more physically involved. I know we only had terms of our workshops to get that time and use that time wisely to work together. However, I feel like most of the time we did things separately and on the chat and on Trello and vice versa. But I feel like in order to improve what we could have done, it was generally to have that physical communication with each other, because everyone's kind of busy and in their own world and doing this and that at separate times, and it's just all not the same feel. It's not all the same atmosphere, and I feel like when we don't have that atmosphere together, it did have an impact. But in terms of everything, I feel like our group did really, really well, and I feel like I am really proud of the concept that we came up with. So